Donald Trump's second term is rapidly reshaping the United States around fossil fuels, fear-based policing, and minority rule. And the concrete data now emerging from his own agencies, Congress, and watchdogs shows how deep the damage could run if it is not stopped. Donald Trump's second term isn't just policy. It's a deliberate demolition of America's democratic guardrails, scientific backbone, and clean energy future, with EPA data projecting trillions in climate costs, ice raids killing innocents, and science cuts driving researchers abroad. If you care about free elections, breathable air, and a competitive USA, watch this. Like, if this fires you up, share to wake others, and subscribe for more unfiltered truth bombs. Gutting climate protections and supercharging emissions. In February 2026, Trump and EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin finalized the repeal of the EPA's 2009 endangerment finding, the legal backbone that allowed the federal government to treat greenhouse gases as pollutants under the Clean Air Act. That finding underpinned virtually all federal climate rules on vehicles, power plants, and oil and gas operations. Its elimination is being touted by the White House and EPA as the largest deregulatory action in American history. EPA's own regulatory impact analysis says the repeal is paired with scrapping ambitious tailpipe standards and EV policies, projecting about $1.1 trillion in savings from cheaper gasoline vehicles and another $200 billion from reduced EV purchases and charging infrastructure. Independent modeling by the Environmental Defense Fund finds the package could increase U.S. greenhouse gas emissions by about 10% by 2055, and impose up to $4.7 trillion in extra climate and pollution-related costs by then, wiping out any claimed savings several times over. Mother Jones's reporting, drawing on auto industry data, notes that major automakers have responded by canceling or scaling back electric vehicle lines, writing off tens of billions of dollars in planned EV investments and shifting production back to high-margin, high-emitting trucks and SUVs. Analysts warn this could leave the U.S. stuck with older combustion technology while Europe and China accelerate EV adoption, undermining both climate goals and American manufacturing competitiveness. Science funding cuts and a brain drain. At the same time, Trump has moved against the broader scientific infrastructure that underpins innovation and evidence-based policy. The Guardian and partner outlets report that his recent budget cuts and rescissions have slashed billions from key research programs, prompting young researchers, especially in biomedicine and climate-related fields, to seek positions abroad. One analysis warns that without sustained investment, the United States risks losing its status as the world's leading biomedical research hub, with long-term consequences for public health and the economy. These cuts come on top of efforts to sideline or rewrite federal science across agencies, from downplaying climate risks in official documents to pressuring experts whose findings conflict with administration priorities. As environmental lawyers point out, the repeal of the endangerment finding itself required the EPA to discount or dismiss a vast body of climate research that had been affirmed by the Supreme Court and relied on by multiple administrations of both parties. Authoritarian policing and attacks on civil liberties. On the domestic front, Representative Paul Tonko and other members of Congress describe what they call Trump's private army of masked ICE and DHS agents conducting raids in unmarked vehicles, circling schools and courthouses, and snatching people off the street in cities across the country. Tonko's February 7, 2026 newsletter details how these units have been involved in fatal incidents, including the shooting of an innocent mother of 3 during a raid, and argues that they now function as secret police rather than normal immigration enforcement. Tonko links these tactics to a broader power grab, warning that Trump and his allies in Congress are simultaneously trying to seize more control over elections and voter rolls. He describes legislation that would centralize election authority in federal hands and tighten ID and documentation requirements in ways likely to disenfranchise millions of voters, particularly women, LGBTQ people, and naturalized citizens whose current legal identities do not match old documents. In his February 14, 2026 message, He labels this an all-out assault on families and communities designed to lock in minority rule, while most Americans, over 60% in a cited national poll, disapprove of Trump's job performance and believe the country is on the wrong track. Foreign policy that weakens American power. Think tank analyses from organizations like the Center for American Progress argue that Trump's unilateral foreign policy has eroded U.S. power rather than restoring it. By sidelining NATO and other alliances, withdrawing from multilateral agreements, and treating diplomacy as a set of short-term deals, he has made it harder for Washington to rally coalitions on issues ranging from Russian aggression to climate security. Experts note that abandoning climate leadership through repealing the endangerment finding, rolling back emissions rules, and questioning climate science also damages America's credibility in negotiations. Allies increasingly doubt U.S. reliability, while competitors like China and the EU move to dominate the clean energy technologies of the future, from batteries to electric vehicles. In this sense, Trump's policies risk turning the United States into what one advocate calls an island of obsolete technologies in a heating world, dependent on foreign supply chains it once could have led. That is why figures from members of Congress like Tonko to environmental and civil rights advocates argue that opposing Trump is not a matter of partisan preference, but of defending American democracy, public health, and long-term prosperity. For them, patriotism now means insisting on free and fair elections, restoring respect for science and the rule of law, and refusing to accept a future in which the United States trades away its freedoms and its climate stability for the short-term gain of a powerful few.